With a new Forbidden and Limited list comes a brand new tier list. Let's take a look. Hey guys, Otaker back with another video, and today we are going to be talking about kind of prediction on where the format is going to be now that we have a new update to the Forbidden and Limited list. As of recording this video, the Forbidden and Limited list is live. It went live today and it was revealed yesterday. And so, yeah, some stuff is changing. Like, I think the top two decks, Malice and Ryzeal, are worth talking about because they did have some substantial hits that will still not result in them not being the top dominating two decks, but it'll allow a handful of other decks to compete more viably. Before we do jump on into the tier list, though, I want to remind you all that I am currently doing a month-long giveaway for a Malice core. The giveaway ends on May 1st, and the way to win it is very simple. You just have to be subscribed to the channel, like the video, comment down below on every video between now and May 1st that you have liked that video, and answer the 3 questions at the end of each video. For further in-depth details on the giveaway, take a look at the link that will be in the description below, kind of going into the more nitty-gritty on how the giveaway will work. Also, on top of that, consider joining my community Discord and follow me over on Twitch. These are not required to win the giveaway. However, the Discord will give you a bit of a higher advantage at winning the giveaway, simply because there will be questions in the Discord asked that can help you earn extra points. And for the last plug, if you are considering buying some new cardboard over on TCG Player, because Stampede is just now releasing this week, but also the ban list also causes certain cards to skyrocket or lower in price, consider clicking the link down below, which will be my TCG affiliate link, so you can further support the channel. But with that, let's take a look at the tier list. All right, the tier list is looking very similar to the last one I made like a couple weeks ago. With the addition of 3 decks to talk about. We're going to once again be talking about Snake Eye Azumina Fiendsmith. We're going to talk about Mathmech because Circular just came off the list, and I didn't talk about Labyrinth last time, even though it is still a very viable deck, and Labyrinth, I think, made it to like top 8, I think. So it's still a deck worth talking about. The tiers are still the same. Clearly best, this is the decks that are going to still be running the format. Not very many decks will be up here. We have the top contenders. These are decks that are going to be able to keep up, especially with the new hits. But at the same time, they still have their major weaknesses, their major counterplays that will cause them to not be able to compete with, say, example, Ryzeal and Malice. High potential, these are decks that, with the right pilot, can still top a YCS, top a regional, win a regional, but also like is showing good chance of being like up there with the top contenders. Sell It, this is a deck that you shouldn't bother with. It's just not doing anything in the current format, and it's not going to be doing anything anytime soon. And then we have Rogue. Realistically, Rogue should actually be above Sell It. I don't know why it was under, but Rogue, these are decks that, you know, you have an opportunity, you have a chance. This is a deck that is good, has its, you know, ability to play, but you are going to be playing at a disadvantage based on what is currently good in the format. We're going to talk about the 2 like obvious top dogs right now, and that is Ryzeal and Malice. These are the 2 decks that got like hit the hardest on the ban list, and I put quotes on that because Ryzeal wasn't really hit, whereas Malice like was kind of bitch slapped. To start, we're going to talk about Ryzeal, and if you haven't seen the Forbidden Limited list yet, 1, you live under a rock, and 2, X'd, Ice, and Sword were all put to 2, and Detonator was put to 1. The only hit there that actually matters is Detonator to 1, because if Detonator gets hit with Metaltronus or like Winter Cherries or something, like it's out, like you're not getting it back. A lot of people are saying like, oh, if you out it the first time, like you go Imperm, he pops himself, and then you go like a Bestial to banish it. That does the trick. It really doesn't, because plugin still exists. Most Ryzeal builds are playing plugin, so if he was properly summoned, like they can get it back, no problem. So like realistically, Metaltronus or Kashtira Unicorn is like Ryzeal's biggest fucking nightmare right now, because once this Detonator's out, good fucking luck. Like, what are you summoning after that? In terms of the other 3, Ice, X, and Sword to 2, like a lot of builds were already playing 2 Sword as it is. Like they weren't playing the 3rd copy. And on top of that, so like you're losing some bodies, and on top of that, Bonfire was put to 1, so you're losing a handful of your starters, but you do have 7th Tachyon at 3, you have 7th Ascension at 3. Realistically, like I see Ryzeal losing to Droll a little bit harder now, because they are sometimes just going to open hands where they don't see a body, but they'll see like Bonfire or 7th Tachyon, and so then they get Drolled, and then they're really hurting. But that already kind of existed in the current format. I think normal pure Ryzeal is weaker now. I think pure Ryzeal is going to hurt a little bit simply because they have lost a couple of their starters. Like, they've lost a couple bodies that do matter. And on top of that, they've lost some of their facilitating cards that help them get to the bodies, like Bonfire, for example. And again, the Detonator. Like pure Ryzeal, they relied a lot more on Detonator. Having only the one hurts. There were also some plays that they were making where they would send like Detonator off of X. They can't do that anymore because there you go, you got another Detonator. Like, you don't have another Detonator. So because of that, I think like pure is hurting the most, whereas like Mitsurugi and Fiendsmith are completely just untouched. All this really did was make room for like more cards. Like, I know the Mitsurugi Ryzeal build like was typically like ranging closer to like 45 cards, so all you've done here is bring them down to like 40, 41 ish. Like, they're not going to complain about that. And then like the Fiendsmith cards, again, like all we've done is open up room for the deck for more non-engine or more engine cards for the other engines to further enhance the deck. So I think like these two are completely untouched because yes, if they lose Detonator, like Mitsurugi is still a very strong deck. They still have Ame and Futso to really like hold the game together. Fiendsmith still has Caesar and Desiree to hold the game up. So the Ryzeal package becomes weaker, but the rest of the deck is still just perfectly fine. Malice. So I think it's safe to say right now, like, the only way to play Malice between now and Alliance Insight, which is in like a month, and you know, we'll talk about Alliance Insight format when we get there, but I think right now like Malice is really hurting, and it's mainly because like Malice was already in this weird state that like if they didn't see a body, they weren't gonna be able to really play. So hitting the Rabbit, the Dormouse, and the Field Spell to 2 copies rather than 3 each hurts because we are losing 3 starters essentially. But at the same time, we can play like Cynet realistically, and then we lost Decoder as well. Decoder got banned. Realistically, Malice can still play Cynet, but looking at how these hits were, all they have done is like they've made Malice easier to hit essentially with hand traps. Malice was one of those decks that could blow through like 3 hand traps and then still beat you. Malice can't do that completely anymore. Griffin's banned, so an end board piece is gone. Decoder in Extender is gone. What they've essentially done is that they have made it so you can't go into Decoder. We can still make Ling. Like, we still have some Link 1 options, so we can still, like, do Malice plus a body as full combo, or Malice plus a Bestial as full combo. But what they've done is that we get to Ransom, we search the Field Spell, which, by the way, can't chain block anymore, so Ransom could get Ash Blossomed. But if we do successfully get to the Ash Blossom, or we get to the Field Spell, and then they go TV11 to banish the Ransom, on resolution, Nib is, like, the perfect spot right there. Like, that's the perfect Nib spot. Because like it hurts the most essentially. That you could still technically go Field Spell. However, if they are not playing Dotscaper, then they probably don't have a body to summon off of the Field Spell banish, or they played their resources very well. It really just depends. Like, it's going to heavily come down to bodies they see. Again, Druid Worm's down to 2, so they've lost 3 starters, 3 starters, and then technically 3 extenders. We lost Shifter to 1. So like our auto win conditions kind of gone. Griffin's banned. Like, I genuinely think Malice got hit harder on this list than Ryzeal did. That being said, Malice Fiendsmith is still a viable option. It's just, I think the Bestial Malice option like is still there because you can just replace the 2 Druid Worm with like 2 Saronir. You can also just replace like the 2 Malice bodies that were lost, the 1 Dormouse and the 1 Rabbit, with 2 Cynet. You can replace the 1 Field Spell with a Terraforming. Like, there's replacements for sure. Malice just loses to, like, Malice actually gets hurt by hand traps now. Like, Ash hurts, Droll can hurt now because Cynet searches, the Terraforming searches. So like Droll can hurt a little bit now. Malice loses to Nib a little bit easier now. Like, Malice has counterplay now, so I don't want to hear none of y'all bitching. That being said, I do, again, still think Malice is, like, one of the top dogs, and once we get to Alliance Insight, it might even be, like, the best deck going forward. Really just depends, because, like, that new support is crazy, but for now, it is still, like, up here in top dog. It is hurting for sure. Like, losing Decoder hurts a lot, but if you are playing the Fiendsmith build, which is mainly what this is, I don't have a Fiendsmith image on here, but like Fiendsmith, Bestial, Malice is still like the best way to play Malice right now, which it already kind of was. So going into Alliance Insight, like, this is kind of what we're thinking. Next is everybody else. So last tier list, I talked about Union cards, like the new Union support from Maze, and I mentioned how I like don't really know much about it. It's not good. I can't even put this in a Rogue. Like, I think pure ABC is actually better than this stuff, because this isn't really ending on anything more oppressive than ABC Buster Dragon already was. It's like okay, but like ABC was already doing the stuff that this new support does. On top of that, it makes you play a couple of bricks. Union Controller is a very good card, but everything else is like not that great. So because of that, like, I'm not gonna say like sell ABC, because ABC is like a deck that is kind of like future proof. It also has the ability to like get more support, because V and W still haven't gotten their retrains yet. Like, we got X, Y, and Z retrains, so VW can give retrains, so just keep an eye out for that. But I cannot, like, in good conscience recommend playing the newer version of ABC. Like, you would probably have a better chance of playing regular ABC. Fire Kings, I have to kind of put in a high potential, close to top contender scenario, because the lack of punish from a lot of these decks right now, like Crossout Designator is put to 1, like Talents is put to 1, so they don't have to worry about like activating their monster effects nearly as much. Like, you don't have to play around the 1-of all that much. Fire King is also very good because Dweller is banned, which means like cards that activate in the graveyard are not a concern to, you know, be able to resolve anymore. So Fire King gets a buff from that. Also, the Snake Eye cards are coming back, like Ash to 2, Poplar to 2 is really good. OSS is banned still, thank God. So it's going to be harder for like the Fire King deck to incorporate that, but there's still advantage to be had there. And also, again, Fire King has a very good matchup into Ryzeal because they want their stuff destroyed. So I could see that being good. The thing here is that Odeon, we're not calling it Tomb Keeper. Odeon kind of does counter this deck a little bit though. Especially like if Odeon, or like, sorry, the Man with the Mark is already on the board. Like, this is going to be hard to, it has a bad matchup, but Odeon is like not like one of the best decks in the room by any means, but I could definitely see like Fire King getting a resurgence still here. Talking about fire, we're gonna move down to water. Water's crazy now. Like, first off, Water's been winning a couple YCSs here and there. It just made top 4 at Houston, and it's still just a very strong deck. They lost Bahamut. That's literally all they lost. I guess technically you could say they lost Bahamut and Toad. Bahamut did a lot for the deck than just summoning Toad, because what they would do is they would put a Dragoons as one of the materials under Bahamut effect, summon Toad, and then on resolution, Dragoons would activate its effect. So Bahamut like did a lot for this deck in a sense. The issue here is that Dweller is banned now, so they are resolving like a lot of their effects uncontested, but the deck, and also on top of that, Shifter has been put to 1, so like Malice and decks that play Shifter will see it a lot less often, which means, you know, Mermail doesn't have to worry about much right now. All they've lost is like their Omni Negate. However, without that Omni Negate, like if you just open like 2 Nibiru, which does happen, if you open like 2 Nibiru, like good fucking luck, like Mermail will just scoop to that point, because they can't summon out Toad early. The thing is like they still get to Minstrel right away, so they can look at your hand and, you know, gank the card that is most threatening. Droll still like kind of hurts the deck, but again, they can play around that. So realistically, I would have loved to have seen Dragoons put to 1 here, but they probably have Mermail support down the road coming. So, you know, we can't hit it yet. Got to sell the product first. Next is Chimera, Fiendsmith, Azamina, and yeah, Fiendsmith wasn't touched on the ban list again. I don't know what the fuck. Who's sucking Konami's cock right now to like really keep these cards in the game? Because holy fuck, am I sick of them. But Chimera players, we eating kind of good here. Just like with the Mermail argument, Dweller's banned, Shifters to 1. Chimera can very much play under Droll and Lockbird. The Fiendsmith cards were not touched. We eating kind of good. Because that, I honestly, call me biased all you want. I'm not gonna lie. I think Chimera is like a very good deck until Alliance Insight, and then Malice will just beat it into the ground. Because, like, Ryzeal is, like, your biggest, I guess, concern, realistically, because, like, Cross is annoying, because they can, like, negate. But, like, if you open, like, Chimera Fusion, which you always open Chimera Fusion, you're fine. Like, you're honestly fine. We have 1,000 ways to play the Fiendsmith engine. We have all these really just strong cards. Duke of Demise is crazy for this deck. Again, like, I think we're eating pretty good. Next is Heroes. I mean, like, Heroes still just kind of loses to everything. Like, I'm going to put it in Rogue. Because, like, yeah, Shifter's put to 1, so, like, Shifter decks see it less, so, like, Heroes don't got to worry about that. But, that's not really what was stopping Heroes. Like, Shifter was one of many things stopping Heroes. Like, Nib's still in the format, Droll's still in the format. Heroes are heroes. Like, if you're going to play Heroes, you already know the risk. Blue Eyes, like, I'm not going to lie. Blue Eyes is kind of like, I'm going to put it in top contenders begrudgingly, because Blue Eyes is kind of like falling short from what we expected. Like, the OCG made it seem like it was going to be stronger than it actually ended up being. Blue Eyes, don't get me wrong, is a strong deck. If you like playing Blue Eyes, it is a good deck. I will not lie, but it is not quite as good as everyone was expecting. It has its weaknesses that are very apparent. Shifter is obviously a 1, so again, like, they don't have to worry about that. They were never worried really about Dweller, and like Drill being strong against Detonator, but if they have plug-in, they can play around that. Blue Eyes does not particularly like the Ryzeal matchup, which is still kind of just everywhere. Blue Eyes is like not the fondest of the Malice matchup either, but overall, like, it might be up there, but I think like Blue Eyes is very underwhelming of a deck and benefits heavily from like Valor being engine, so like they have a non-engine that's also technically engine. But yeah, I mean, Blue Eyes is still going to be able to compete for sure, but I think it is fairly underwhelming based on what other decks are apparently good in this format, which is obviously going to be Mermail being one of them. Fire King's also pretty good into the Blue Eyes matchup. So it's really just Blue Eyes is struggling to compete against a lot of the decks that realistically shouldn't have been able to compete in this format, that like the OCG wasn't seeing. Like, OCG wasn't seeing Fire King. They weren't seeing Mermail as often when like Blue Eyes came out. So like Blue Eyes in the OCG was like very strong because it wasn't competing with the stuff that it's competing with over here. Like, it's not just Ryzeal and Malice it's fighting against. It's fighting against a handful of other like tier 1.5 decks. Bestial Fiendsmith, I mean, all they lost was 2 Druisworm, which again, you can just replace with 2 Serenir. Like, high potential. Like, realistically, you're probably playing Malice cards in this now, so like this isn't even like the deck. It's like Malice is in it as well, but it, you know, it is what it is. Crystron, pretty good deck, I won't lie. I'm gonna put it in high potential because unless your name is Yassine, I haven't seen like this really topping anything major other than like a regional. Don't get me wrong, it's a good deck and it does a lot of good stuff, and nothing it plays was hit on this ban list. So I could definitely foresee it being boosted in power level going into this format because the best decks have lowered in power level. So I could definitely see like Crystron definitely being able to compete in like the top contenders for sure, because it's able to compete now with like the decks that are getting bitch slapped on this ban list. I ain't gonna lie, I genuinely feel like the Kashtira Fiendsmith deck is kind of the play going into this format. Like, I'm gonna honestly put it in like best. This might be coping, I'm not gonna lie. And keep in mind, I don't actually play this deck. I don't have Fiendsmith cards. I sold them all before Stampede, not expecting not to get hit on the ban list, so I look like a fool. But like this, I feel like this is a good deck. Like, if you just slap down Unicorn against a Ryzeal player, they're not interacting with you. They're gonna let you play, because if they interact with you, they're losing their detonator. Simple as that. I think this is genuinely like a good deck going into the next format, simply because Unicorn is such a threat. Kashtira cards have always been good against like Malice, because Malice, like, they activate in the banish pile, they come back on a resolution, then Fenrir banish or Unicorn banish from extra deck. Unicorn's always been like a threat to Malice because we play 1 of everything in our extra deck. We don't play 2 of anything, so that was always like a concern. Ryzeal has to be more careful around Unicorn exactly. So I think this is kind of like the play, like the Fiendschmidt deck. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I think it's up there. Melodious, I got nothing to say about Melodious. I think it's rogue. I don't think any, like, the most recent hits is going to change anything for Melodious. I think it is still just a fine deck. Same with, like, Millennium, just a fine deck. Odeon, not Tomb Keeper, is definitely, like, a top contender for sure. This is a very strong deck. We saw very good results at the YCS Houston. It does fall short in some regards. Like, we are seeing people playing, like, evenly match. Like, they bait out the Apophis Swamp Deity cards, and then, like, they go evenly match, or they go evenly and then they go into droplets and the evenly, stuff like that. But overall, like, a very, very good and consistent deck, being able to set up, like, really cool forms of interaction, and, like, hard ways to counter. Like, Impulse is, like, the only thing I can really think of that, like, counters it per se. Like, Cosmic can hurt if you're responding. Typhoon can hurt if you're responding. I've been seeing some people, like, at regional levels siding in like, MST just to, like, try and get rid of this shit. It's interesting, to say the least. Your Mitsurugi, like, Ogdoadic, Reptile, good stuff. I had to put in Rogue, despite the fact that, like, Shifter's gone, so they don't have to worry about that as much. And Dweller is banned, so, like, again, they don't have to worry about that as much. Droll's still a thing, and Droll hurts this deck a lot. The Ogdoadic, at least, like, if they lead with Ogdoadic stuff and, like, not Mitsurugi, then Droll hurts a lot. If they lead with, like, Mitsurugi, like, they're fine, because Mitsurugi can set up a respectable board under Droll and Knockbird. But overall, like, I still think, like, Rogue, I don't foresee this, like, making a huge appearance. Bestials are still prevalent in the format, because Malice will still be playing a bunch of Bestials, just 2 less Druis Worm. And Bestials, you know, they hurt the Reptiles, because the Reptiles, for some reason, are dark. Memento, y'all thought I was coping on this deck. You all really thought I was coping on this deck, and yet here it is, winning a YCS. Memento is a good deck. Like, this was a deck that just randomly got ignored. Now, I do think it does need a good pilot. This is a deck that has 1,000 routes to take, and all of them are correct. It's very good at adapting around very specific hand traps. It's very good at maneuvering around boards to be able to crack a board and win. It is a very strong deck, but because that has a very high ceiling, so it needs a good pilot to actually perform. And let's be honest, most people who are playing it probably are not a good pilot. But again, I think Memento, whether it's Fiendsmith or, like, the Goblin build that we saw at the YCS, all just very good cards, all very good. It's just a very good deck, and top contender if the pilot is good. Primate Fiendsmith, I have yet to see, like, this doing anything ever since the, like, YCS Orlando. I haven't seen, like, this deck really doing anything. Like, people are playing other cards, other decks. I'm gonna put it, like, in high potential, because, like, it still does good things. Like, Fiendsmith is just a good engine. They're good cards, so, you know, why not slap a Drill Beam on top of that? But, like, overall, again, I'm not seeing, like, major topping results. Tachyon, I have a better understanding of Tachyon. This deck is very, very good. It loses to Droll and Lockbird. So Tachyon, I'm going to put it in Rogue. Tachyon is a very good deck. Tachyon Transmigration, I found out the hard way, is not a once per turn. So, like, they have the way to end their turn with it in hand and then search another one, like, in your standby phase. So they have 2, like, chain negates, essentially. Just a very strong card. The issue with, like, this deck is it does lose to Bestials, too many Bestials. It can lose to too many interactions. Droll and Lockbird hurts a lot. Just the deck has its weaknesses, and on top of that, it was really good in the OCG. The OCG was able to play this, like, from the get-go, but it also came out, I'm pretty sure, before Malice and Ryzeal, as someone was telling me in my comments on the last tier list. It didn't have to compete with Malice and Ryzeal right out the gate, so it had the potential to be good. Meanwhile, we got it really late over here, and hasn't been able to keep up since. So the Tachyon deck, I think, is fine. It's good. The FTK hasn't reared its ugly head yet, probably because everyone knows, like, the moment it does, Catapult Turtle gets banned. But overall, it's like, again, I think it just, Droll is too prevalent in the current format for this to be a relevant deck right now. Tenpai, this is Tenpai Fiendsmith, obviously, and haven't seen this recently. I'm gonna put it in, like, I think it has high potential. Tempai is still Tempai cards, and if you just bait out all interaction with Fiendsmith, then you just go Tempai cards and win the game. I think it's like a fine deck. It just loses to a handful of things. They can open too many like non-engine cards and like just automatically lose the game from there. Not much to talk about with Tempai. Trickstar, I don't change my opinion on this deck. Sell it. Like don't play Trickstar. The only Trickstar card that I think is good from the Maze set is the Water Angel, I think is what it's called, that Marincess can play. So Marincess can like look at your hand and play around your shit. And it's also just an extender. But other than that, like these Trickstar cards, it's Trickstar. Like the strategy didn't change. White Forest. I think this deck is really good now. I'm putting it in top contender. White Forest, one of its big issues in the last format before the ban list was Shifter. At least like 1/3 of your matches was against Malice, and if they open Shifter, you just kind of lost. Now they have to worry about Droll still, but like White Forest can play around Droll. Not to a huge degree, but they can play around it. But overall, I think like this is a very strong deck. There's a guy at my locals that keeps topping with this deck because you can interact. This is just like Malice. Like if you don't know where to hit this deck, or if you hit this deck incorrectly and like the last card in hand is the actual extender, like they're just gonna win. Like they drain you of your resources and you drain them of like their resources -1. And then next thing you know, they're linking into Moon, Requiem, and then Fiendsmith shit, and they will go for game. Like, it's crazy. Like, the fact Fiendsmith cards were not touched just further bolsters this deck. And Shifter getting hit, Dweller getting hit. Like, the Dweller and Shifter getting hit made a lot of decks really good. Yubel, I think, is also, like, high potential. It's up there. With 2 Shavara now, like, this deck's actually pretty fine. I forgot to put Unchained on here. Unchained's probably going to be in high potential again. Like, 2 Shavara is actually, like, really good for Yubel and Unchained. Just very strong stuff. I don't have much to say, like, really. Like, Yubel is just a good deck. The one Spirit still hurts a little bit, but overall, I think they're fine. All right, so the 3 decks I've included: Snake Eye, Fiendsmith Asmina, Mathmech, and Labyrinth. I have to put Snake Eye in Rogue for now until we see what happens. Snake Eye not having OSS hurts quite a bit. So, and also they have 1 bonfire. They don't have 3 bonfires. So the issue that Snake Eye had originally was not they didn't have enough bodies. It's because they lost OSS. OSS hurt a lot. Snake Eye's matchup into Ryzeal is horrible. Like, they just lose to Ryzeal. On top of that, like, at least 2 Poplar now, like, you can open 1, not be pissed, because you can still search the other one with, like, Ash or Bonfire, so, like, it's fine. The issue is, again, you've lost Bonfire, so the issue with Snake Eye originally was, like, oh, you can exhaust them of their resources with, like, 2 hand traps, and next thing you know, they're activating Bonfire, search Poplar, and Poplar effect. But it's like, now it's like, what do you search off Poplar? You can search the field spell, and you can do that, but what if you open the field spell? So, the deck is going to be in an interesting spot. I think it has the ability to compete in this format. It's just going to struggle because it doesn't have OSS, which is like a very strong card. Like, people don't give OSS enough credit for what it did for that deck alone. But also on top of that, like, again, its worst matchup is Ryzeal. And also, it's not a big fan of Bestials, funny enough. Mathmech is... I'm going to put it in Rogue for now. Circular does a lot for the deck. It does a lot of heavy lifting. But the thing is that Mathmech wasn't doing anything before Circular got banned. I don't think it's going to do much now. If anything, I already know Malice players, myself included, we're looking at ways to include some Mathmech cards into Malice for, like, free extenders and stronger end boards. And also, the Adignister cards are coming out, and Mathmech Adignister was a deck at one point, so I could foresee that being a thing in Alliance Insight. But for right now, going into the Alliance Insight format next month, between now and then, I don't see Math doing a whole lot other than being played into, like, Malice. Because on top of that, they also lost Decoder, and Decoder did a lot for the deck as well. So it's very interesting to see what happens. I think overall, if you see Mathmech cards, they will be played in Malice, not in Mathmech. And lastly, Labyrinth. I'm going to put it in high potential. Labyrinth, again, I think I got like top 8 at Houston. It's just a good deck. It needs a good pilot. Beansmith cards are good. Like, overall, it's just a good deck. I got nothing to say about Labyrinth. I've spoken about Labyrinth 1,000 times since its release on like how good it is, and then it doesn't perform until like one dude randomly shows up with Labyrinth at a YCS and gets like top 16, top 8. It's just, again, it needs a good pilot. It has a very high ceiling, but it has good matchups into a handful of the decks in the current format. So again, high potential. That's really all I have for you guys today. I think this format is going to be actually pretty good between now and Alliance Insight, and I think Alliance Insight is going to throw things back into a weird state where Ryzeal and Maliss are just very clearly the top dogs. But that really is it for today's video. So just a reminder, I am doing a Malice Core giveaway that ends on May 1st. If you want a chance to win, make sure you leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and answer the following 3 questions. First question is what deck are you playing between now and Alliance Insight? Is it changing at all? Second question is for those who actually watch the video, what is the hit that I feel like Mermail actually should have gotten rather than Bahamut Shark? And the third question is why do I think Cast Sheriff Fiendsmith is actually the play this format? Other than that, I'll see you all in the next video. See ya!